We are back to arts and culture and to my special guest, Dr. Ni Ocquaye Hammond.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeja. Na wumpo mu.
Mimpom ye. I was say.
Yamina dumu. Yeah.
Yo. Doc, thank you very much. I know that you're on the road, but you still found time to join us. Thank you very much for doing so. You and I are here to pay tribute to a man of impeccable character, a man of massive achievements. We're speaking about Dr. Mohammed Ben Abdallah. Yourself, myself, we went to the School of Performing Arts. We passed through his hands. We've had experiences with him. And you also, as a intellectual, have dealt with his work on so many different fronts. Doc, what's your fondest memory of Dr. Mohammed Ben Abdallah?
Wow, that is very clear for me. When I came to the School of Performing Arts, when I came for the examinations, we did it on a Friday. I had a terrible headache. And then we had to come back for this on Saturday for the auditions. And we had written the exams at the Great Hall. So I told another lady who was coordinating, taking people in and out, that I had this headache and I had to go home. And she asked me, went to talk to Doc. Doc said, let him come quickly and do it. So I went to do my presentation. It was a poem called Riddles in Circles. And when I finished, the look in his eyes, I knew I was taken. And then I was accepted at the School of Performing Arts. My name was second on the list. So yes, that was the first time I met this man, and I thought this man is great. After that, I was really right. I mean, this man inspired me to become who I've become, inspired many people. He himself described himself as a cultural engineer. So beyond the playwriting and his academic writings and everything, he's a cultural engineer. If you ask me, I would say that apart from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the one who has contributed most to Ghana's cultural landscape is Dr. Mohammed Ben Abdallah. May his soul rest in peace.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. And Doc, speaking of your experience with getting into the School of Performing Arts, that brings my own experience. And I didn't even realize that he was part of that as well until you started telling your experience. But that was for the MFA experience, right? When I applied to do the MFA course, went for the interview and everything, one of the lecturers in the room, surprisingly, referred to my beard as a reason why I may not qualify for the course, at the time. And he was shocked. He was openly shocked, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And he didn't hide it. He actually came out to say in front of all the other panel and myself that if you ask me, a beard and scholarship go together.
Wow.
Direct quote from Dr. Mohammed Ben Abdallah. He said, if you ask me, a beard and scholarship go together.
Yeah.
The rest is history. I got admission to do the MFA in the School of Performing Arts. Yeah. But let's go on. Doc, you mentioned that apart from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, he's perhaps the person who has contributed the most to our cultural renaissance. Why do you say that?
Because of a few things. One, when he came to Legon, when he was a student, he was already a teacher. He had studied in Kumasi and was a teacher. He came to Legon. They had the Legon Road Theatre, and they had another one. I've forgotten the name, and they did great things. And then he went to the US, came back after he had his PhD in Texas, created a Baby Grumba. He was the one who, when he became a minister, a Baby Grumba was split into two. And I know that at that time, many people did not really like it. But a Baby Grumba, we have the National Theatre Players, a Baby Grumba, and we have the School of Performing Arts. Even the dance ensemble, he took half of it to the National Theatre. He created National Theatre. He created Centers for National Culture. He created, together with JJ, he created the National Commission on Culture. He created the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. What else do you want? He was the first one who built the link between the diaspora, so African Americans, and Ghana. You know, so and he's done so many things. What else? What else can a man do? You know, and even in his old age, when he was 81, he was still prepared. Anyone who came around willing to learn something or just wanted to have a conversation with him, Dr. Abdallah will sit you down and treat you like really he was the best.
Yes, I have an experience about that too, but I'll save that for later. So Doc, we have this. So Dr. Abdallah came at a point to head the School of Performing Arts, but we can speak about him in so many different. He wore so many different hats. The first time I encountered him as a parent. I was in school, St. Peter's Secondary School. His kids were in St. Peter's Secondary School. He was Minister of Education at the time. Yeah. And his kids, Farouk and Ramses, were in St. Peter's Secondary School. So he used to visit St. Peter's Secondary School. That's when I saw him for the first time. But years later, I encountered him again in the School of Performing Arts as a lecturer. And in between there, as I've mentioned already, as a politician. Let's talk about him as a politician for a little bit. Yeah. What are some of the sterling impact that he made as a politician?
Well, Dr. Abdallah was a revolutionary. The conversation, he had a lot of conversations with me. He told me that when he finished his PhD, he was in the US with many of his friends from Ghana, and they had more or less an organization, and he told them, announced to them that he was going back to Ghana. That was the time when the revolution had just begun, and people said, "What are you going to do? You can live here, you are a lecturer, you have a PhD, you can earn a lot of money." And then he said, "No, Ghana gave me free education. I went through everything and I got the scholarship. So I'm going back to give back to Ghana what Ghana had given to me." The man lived a very, it's not one of those politicians who amassed wealth. The man lived a very modest life. One of the things I remember that I kept saying was, we should not play the game of mediocrity. We should not allow mediocrity to tyrannize us. So he called that the tyranny of the mediocre. We should not contribute to it. So I am one of his students, and I really love those things he told me. I'll say to all those people who loved me, who loved him, because if you have met that man, the impression will make on you, you will never forget.
Doc, let me introduce you to my co-host, who actually should be doing this segment, but because it's my area, I've decided to hug him small. And also because I'm Dr. Ocquaye, I would, of course, come and claim some of the fans, they see. But anyway, I have my brother Synergy. Synergy is co-host of this show. So I believe he has a couple questions for you as well. Synergy, please go ahead. You have a question for that.
Yes, I think the conversation and where we are heading towards is a must thing that we need to highlight on. Doctor made mention of several things that were established under him, and it tells that this man in question, or this man that we are talking about, isn't just a layman, but a national asset. But my question to Doctor would be, for someone who headed the School of Performing Arts, do we have something that we can hold of him that would be like in a documentary form, that the future generation will definitely benefit from such a great man, being an educator, being a playwright, and then again, he became a politician as well, packed with a lot of responsibilities. Do we have something like that?
Yes, we do. Dr. Abdallah has a library. His house, in fact, 2 years ago, we started the Matt Foundation, which was supposed to take care of his legacy while he was even alive. And Matt Foundation is Dr. Abdallah's legacy for the arts and for Ghanaians, where you can go and see all kind of books, all his works, and even more, all the things, all his library, the things that really inspired him, you'll find them there. So I think that since he's not here anymore with us, if you really want to experience him, you go to the Matt Foundation. If you contact the ministry, they'll have people to contact you and who can lead you. And Dr. Akos Abdallah, who is his daughter, has also connection with the School of Performing Arts. And if you contact her, she will lead you to the Matt Foundation, where you can get most of his works. Dr. Abdallah, as a playwright, really discussed issues that were, for some people, no-go areas. For example, his play, The Slaves, talks about the slaves, the enslavement of African people and being shipped to the Americas to be really treated very inhumanly. But he also pointed the finger at us, those chiefs and kings and kingdoms who were part of it. You know, today we know that it is beyond that. You know, some of them did not have any choice. The colonizers, the enslavers were about to kill them, not only in Ghana, also in where they used to call the Slave Coast, that is in Nigeria. You know, if you don't work along with them, they will kill the king or take the king away. That continued also in the period of colonization. So this man is he's in Dutch they say thousand put. He's a 1,000-handed human. His knowledge, you know, he's one of the men who make people understand that School of Performing Arts is not just about music and dance. You know, it is way beyond that. It is the deeper understanding of culture, African personality, African epistemologies that the Europeans and colonialism tried to suppress. Well, I'll stop here and wait for your question.
Well, I want us to move on the other side, which has to be back in the days. I know a man who lived from 1944 to 2025. He tells us life well lived. But on the other side, I would say that theater, art, and artistry and other things that contributed to creative arts back then. Now, it was something that we were very much. It was something that we held on to. We held on to it.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to listen to you, but I didn't get you. Could you repeat that again, please?
Yeah, I don't know. I think his connection is a bit frozen. Let me take it from here until
we had no social media, nothing.
Yeah, well, there's something I would like to add, because very often, and I've mentioned it just now, very often Ghanaians and as academics, the Ghanaians, we tend to think of the performing arts as just music and dance, as a very small part of our very existence, you know. But performance is a space where knowledge is created, you know, where spirituality is practiced, where our epistemologies are written, you know. So yeah, these are things that we need to imbibe and work on ourselves, work on these things, try to really interrogate what performance is. Performance is just beyond the dance. When you go to any place and see people dancing, what are they doing? When they wear masks, what are they showing? You know, there are historical elements in that. When you see anybody standing on stilts and dancing, they will call him Sakramudu. But what is Sakramudu? Sakramudu is not just standing on stilts and dancing. Sakramudu, according to John Ferber, is it John Termer? Ferber, yeah, is part of a religious system called Sakramundi or Sakramudu, and also Bisabrewa. It has more. I mean, let's investigate. Let's see who we are. Let's see what roles these things played in the past. Performance is just more than this. And Dr. Abdallah, his whole life made me and many others understand the full import of performance, the role of performance in our society.
Doc, let's also look at Dr. Abdallah, the educationist. We've covered some of that. Let's look at him as a playwright.
Yeah,
we've also covered some of that. But let's look at the type of plays he wrote. You've mentioned the slaves. There are others like The Trial of Malam Elia. There are others like Land of a Million Magicians, which I have a short story to tell about as well.
Yeah.
When I was doing my MFA, he was my supervisor, and I chose to direct his play, Land of a Million Magicians.
Yeah.
Since he wrote that play, nobody had touched it at that time, because that play, when he wrote and directed it, was a 100 cast and crew member play piece.
Yeah.
So it was not something that anybody was eager to take on, especially as a school project where your marks depend on it,
Yeah.
I chose that play. And then I went to speak with him. I said, sir, I chose this play and I want to direct it. He says, Kwesi, don't you want to do something different? He was scared for me. He suggested I forget which play, but he suggested another play of his, which he said was going to be easier to handle.
Yeah.
I stuck to my gut. My guns. I said, I'm going to do this play, Doc. He said, okay, in that case, come to my house. I will show you videos of what I did with the play. So it will give you an idea what to do, like how to approach the play. And then I said, I would love to go to Dr. Abdallah's house, but I'm going to pull back on this. Why? Because I wanted my play to be as original as possible. I wanted it to be a direct interpretation of his thoughts, right? Without borrowing or without hiring lawyer, as we say in Ghana. So eventually I didn't go. I directed the play and it ended up being one of the great plays of the season, let me just say. Packed the drama studio. And the crowning moment for me was when he congratulated me for handling the show and doing justice to it. I will never forget this. But
Dr. Abdallah, he really sees quality. He really sees, he knows it. When he sees you, he knows if you have it or if you have the potential, and he will always be there to help you realize your dreams.
Absolutely. Synergy, you still there?
He's gone. I can't see him. Oh, he's back.
Let me bring him back on. Synergy.
Yeah, Ras, I can hear you.
Okay,
it looks as if
Doc has to go.
let's up over here, but I can hear you.
Okay, so let's have
some breaks in there.
Let's have you one more question for you, and then one more question for me, and then we'll let him go because he has to go attend to some other important stuff. Go ahead.
Am I on? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Before I said line, Captain, I wanted to ask this question that is most sensitive to me when it comes to this theater arts. Back in the days, we had this theater arts with no television or this kind of TV stations and this CD thing. So this theater thing were the only thing that we had. Do we see some form of losing this whole thing that comes with this theater thing in relation to how this social media thing and this generation we've held into social media?
Oh, okay. Very interesting question. I think that social media challenges us to become even better in what we do. There will be, because I've seen many plays, short sketches done on social media. But who are you? Are you a performing artist? And what level are you prepared to work? At what level? So if you want to be someone who is seriously busy with the performing arts, yes, then the social media can be what do you call it, a help to achieve that. But if you there are people who have not been to, who are not professionals, and they are putting things out there, but it's okay, let them do it, but show that you will not be crippled by the tyranny of the mediocre. Anything that you produce, every product, that's what Dr. Abdallah will tell you. I remember when I was doing my MFA, I wrote my play, and I was having a very difficult time. And I said, I told him, looked at it, I said, yeah, but this is not an evening, cannot fill a full evening, because your production, your play should be produced, and it should be a full evening thing that is more than an hour. Yeah. So he said, and I said, I looked at him and said, yes, please don't mess with yourself. Don't joke with yourself. Go and finish it. So when you give it to me, you know you have given me your best. That is what he told me. These are some of the things I really love that man, and I did. And it was one of the best. I mean, it was a very good production, play reading. So yes, let's not be afraid of the social media and all the things that can be churned out daily. No, let's give our best, and let's ensure that we put quality things out there that people will say, damn, who is this man? Where did he study? He's got ideas. That is what we're about.
And Doc, we are also celebrating Dr. Abdallah as the former head of the School of Performing Arts. What are some of the markers, some of the things that you can point to as his achievement for the School of Performing Arts?
Well, when Dr. Abdallah became head of the department, I had already left school. I left in 1987, but I came back regularly. But what I can say is that Dr. Abdallah gives opportunities to people. Like you said, he didn't look at your beard and think that you won't make it. Perhaps he saw your beard and realized that you can make it.
Absolutely.
So when people say no, and it's not only that, may his soul rest in peace, was one of the students that when he was already a great playwright, when he was coming to the School of Performing Arts, Dr. Abdallah let when he was coming to do his master's, his colleagues know that that's quality that must be taken on. And not only him, many people. So Dr. Abdallah had an eye for quality, had an eye for what do you call it? What people can do. And he saw it and he encouraged them to do it. That's what I can say.
And before we go, Dr. Ocquaye Hammond, what do you think would be a suitable memorial for him at the School of Performing Arts, if not on a national level?
I think that the national level will happen by all means, because many people in government at this moment know his qualities, and they are really aware of the good things he did for the nation. So they will give him a good tribute. But then I think the School of Performing Arts should regularly, like every few years or every year, have a season where they do his plays, because his plays are also very inspiring. If you look at the Alien King, the Alien King talks about how people, just like the stories around the Igbo king who has come and wants to be a king in Ghana, and how he tries to get his cultural space here. All those things, So the Alien King is a reflection, something that he wrote more than 35 years ago, and you can see it being played out in this one. So students can take this play, or directors can take this play and use it to educate Ghanaians, about the problems and things surrounding that. If you look at the verdict of the Cobra, where he looks at cultural values, at spiritual values, and couches it in a beautiful play. I mean, no, we cannot forget this great man, and I pray that the School of Performing Arts and the new generation will really see him as great motivator and learn from his works and continue the great works for our dear nation and
Dr.
also for Pan-Africanism.
Thank you so much.
Well, Ras, before Doug goes, I think I have a couple of just two questions for him to clear
Two.
or to even inform. Yeah, just two.
Okay. All right. Put them together so he can answer them in one.
Yeah, let me put them together. One has to do with him being a member of the Legon 7. What is it about this Legon 7 that needs to be told to the masses or to Ghanaians? Now you bet me appreciate it as him being a member of it. And then again, I think day by day things get scary as to how people from this performing school of performing arts come out, and we don't really see that in as a mark of them, but they are all entering into this podcast and this media space as politicians and as presenters. What do you think needs to be done in a form of advice or as a form of encouragement to this school of performing arts and people coming out from there so that we can still hold on to arts?
Okay. Two things. I was not a member of the Legon 7 because it was way before my time. Now, if you talk about the next things, I mean, you're talking about people branching into various areas. I've seen people who go to the School of Performing Arts and end up becoming bankers, lawyers and other things. In fact, it is not a waste because I know that you and I know, if you have been through the school, that if you have been through that, you can be a great public speaker. Yep. You know, I have known politicians in Ghana who were not at the School of Performing Arts, but were part of theater groups like Talents and things like that. And all these, I mean, going through the process of production, being a performer helps to do your other jobs all right too. I agree with you. It is not a loss when people leave the School of Performing Arts and enter other spaces. No. It is about those who graduate from the School of Performing Arts and stay within the performing arts that we need to help them to do the good job, because they are those who are our ambassadors, you know. And I already see many wonderful productions, people who have passed through the school, and it is what it is. But these people have picked it up and they are doing their best, and they need to be supported. So do not lose heart when you see people move from the School of Performing Arts into the banks. No, it is not a big issue. What is important is that every student understands what performing arts is about, that it's beyond just standing on the stage. It's about understanding your culture. It's about understanding Ghanaian culture, not only Ga culture, Dagomba culture, Ashanti culture, but what is the role of culture in our lives as Africans? That is the question. And if you are even a priest, you become an evangelist, and a few of our people become that. You would use the knowledge that you got from the School of Performing Arts to win souls for Christ. I am a traditionalist, and I want people to be conscious of the essence of our ancestors and ancestral knowledge.
Doc.
Well, I wanted you to touch on the Legon 7 because the doctor was a member of the Legon 7. So if you can please give us a little bit of education on the Legon 7.
Well, what he told me was how they worked together, performed, and traveled around with it. I wouldn't say more about that because I wasn't there. Mm-hmm. I know they did a great job, but I'm not too experienced in all the things they did.
Yes, and the only thing I'll add to that, Doc, is that it kind of marked the point where for me, it was a converging point between the drama that was taught in the schools and the actual, not drama per se, but theater, right? That was in the classroom, and then the actual theater that was on the ground. Dr. Abdallah was very instrumental in translating our performance, our models into something that can be studied in the classroom. And I think that it's kind of started with the Legon 7.
Okay, let me say this. Dr. Abdallah was a protege of Appiah Sutherland. Appiah Sutherland was one of the most brilliant dramatists, African dramatists. She trained people. She had it was Kusuma Gromba, but she also trained people like Mr. Middleton Mains, Dr. Mohammed Ben Abdallah, Sandy Arkest. All of them were under her, you know, and she created Anansi Gro with the marriage of Anansua, and other plays of Oforiwa, and the one, what do you call it? The one that the man's wife died, and so on and so forth. But Dr. Abdallah took it a step further. So he created as a playwright, he created the Ebibigro, you know, which is not based on Anansi's stories, but it's another level with elements not just from Ghana or one ethnic nation, but, you know, a kind of African, Pan-African concept.
Yep.
And that is what he was very good in. And I know Professor Uasedu also did a great job in that. Studying Dr. Abdallah, she can also add more to that.
Thank you very much, Doc. Later on, we will call you to talk a lot more about performance models, which is your forte, honestly.
It is my pleasure to sit here to say a bit about my professor, the one I used to call my professor. I consider him my father, my friend. We've had very good times, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk about him.
Thank you, Doc. Before we go, finally, do you think that apart from the play seasons and all of that, we should have a monument at the School of Performing Arts for Dr. Ben Abdallah? We have the Appiah Sutherland Drama Studio.
Yeah.
Do you think we should, for instance, have the Ben Abdallah Lecture Hall or something?
That would be wonderful. You know, Dr. Abdallah he used to tell me that your works will talk about you. You don't have to tell people anything about you, but when you're gone, your works will keep talking about you. I mean, I remember this is the man who brought the Appiah Sutherland Studio to the campus. He was the one who created the National Theatre, the concept, talked to the Chinese, and it was built. The Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, these things, you know, he will not be put there at Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. But if some of the halls, even in the National Theatre, are named after him,
yes,
that will be correct.
I don't think it would be out of place to name the entire National Theatre after him. I think all right. You call it the Abdallah National Theatre.
Well, you know, it is amazing, but I don't think Dr. Abdallah himself will want the National Theatre to be called Dr. Abdallah National Theatre.
Because of the Bibi Groma brouhaha, right?
No, it's not about the brouhaha, because he did it for Ghana. And it would be wonderful if some of the halls in the National Theatre will be named after him. This is the man who created the Centers for National Culture. This is the man who created the National Commission on Culture, you know? So what do we do for him? It is what we want to do for him. And I know that the School of Performing Arts has a lot of, he shares greatness with many of our lecturers too, of course, at the School of Performing Arts. And we already have Maria Opoku Performance Hall and things like that. And it will be also in place if he also has a place there. But my professor, as I know him, will never fight for that. If this generation thinks that he deserves that, let that generation do what they think is right. That is what he would say.
Wise words, very wise words. Dr. Ocquaye Hammond, thank you very, 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 very much.
You are most welcome.
God bless.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about my professor.
Welcome.
We'll talk later. Respect.
Radio culture.
Okay, now let's go straight and bring on my mentor, Dr. Daniel Appiah-Adjei. I'm say my father doctor or no for doctor nan can again, but me the doctor na come from I'm going to say, oh yeah, full blood doctor. Let me tell you something real quick, Dr. Appiah-Adjei, before we go. Say never into theater, right? Anything. My association with theater in general started with Dr. Appiah-Adjei. So you catch there was something called the theater talent in me. It was this man, Dr. Dan. Doc, you're more about radio culture. I culture. Me put your own poem to say.
Me don't say. So what from me about because he send one better in America for home.
The doctor there watching America, go school America. About degree America there, America so there.
Oh, because you very high out of COVID
yeah, joining you, Doc. Now, my started. Your name, Dr. Ocquaye, AVACCR, and you don't want to make a crack at the Atwaso. We have tribute to Dr. Mohammed Ben Abdallah. There were 5 to 7 minutes left. What do you remember most about Dr. Ben Abdallah?
Because Dr. Abdallah, young Koda Brim, Chama started Chama Team Playhouse. Now Anglican Secondary School at that time. Now you started na you tinidin nana yenimono until say you call School of Performing Arts. But at that time, no a minister. In fact, Mekai say now chairman for the National Commission on Culture. Now, me I can say culture. Ebe peja ewo Ghana henyina. Nefri Dr. Mohammed Ben Abdallah. He say as the chairman of the commission, or the credentials in to form. Not doing say. Culture in Ghana is so uplifting because cultural and ya grow. Onona oma sabio community festival nearby district festivals near regional festivals and some nearby national festival of arts and culture, which is NAPAC. And then the cultural side, Obia Sabio Waba, what me a Peja culture, a drum Pempensobia, Dr. Ben Abdallah, culture drew here. Now, Sabuya not on China, the writings as a playwright or a finest. Now, the writings are so objective, or taking the whole of Africa as the stage and are presenting the writings. And then, Dr. Abdallah, I was so lucky to have worked under him as a cultural officer at the Center for National Culture, Kumasi, when he was the chairman of the National Commission on Culture. Now, at the end, Sebia Papane Bakuna making a Dr. Abdallah Bedman's speech, our baby, we are the manuscript, no, the mammy. Of framing no or the mammy, no match. Now, when we are talking about playwright, I dear back Africa, and Ghana, Yanyadi, Sabu, so when we answer, because you're crying, you know. Now, Dr. Abdallah, Troy, the alien king, the Kaipa, what was he, meaning alien king made directly now, what?
There be, let me know all the time.
Now, or alien king, now or cultural center. In fact, it boosts two men no much a team players no be brave. Emma, after that, now you will nipa bear 9. I know your free cultural center on Babaye course at University of Ghana under Abdallah. Abdallah na institute at Yebiania Wesley College inter-house drama. One of his plays, Senator Misike, our home. the play back one a sign a tall Makuma so as a playwright. I inspire me Kasepa, the Witch of Mopti.
The Witch of Mopti.
The Witch of Mopti, a play beer, a so political. Say, if you can't beat them, join them. And so according to him, truth stands. And then because he may be a now question be able to some just one because
but Mammy Bissau. Yeah, I'm not for me to play here and can play right there. And once the old trophy be a mani party and entertainment. Right inside. The trial of Malamelia. Oshe, the Witch of Mopti. Oshe, the Land of a Million Magicians. Oshe, the Spirit. What means that there's very, very, very deep meaning in all these plays. So, you can say, playwright. What is the contribution of the playwright to national development? Dr. Abdallah, any example?
Because he said the Dr. Abdallah, you know, the place our body in there. It shows how deep the band is. The American can say, but Abdallah not on shore, subject player, your friend frivolous plays. No. So one unit in the player now watching also I want to ask you. The Land of Million Magicians.
Yes.
So when you deep to say because you what you any yamubia on tiasi.
Yes.
Look, make sure the Witch of Mopti may the throw paper because but are we not all insane? At the psychology department up to this time, University of Ghana, there are some scholars almost a frame maybe almost a genuine home. If you say, Tamwa, Memuna, a polu two in Sona no mono. Now, when we be our bottom, you are insane. Not the king, the only person who have not taken water from that well.
The public well.
Memuna, Fanta. Na Oshese Minia. Obi abodam no ahimi nkwa modam agesa wonum nsuo no bi ansa
no
it tells you say the man is very deep. I have never regretted being in his hands. So ochire madie ama me so ene nyame ada roma me tro bia because it's any American no yeah me book me place no I told there be a fabi na yen discuss on air mama yen we answer Ansana ye ken Ben away. As Dr. Abdallah, Wayate, Wabo African theater, any Ghanaian theater, and he's one of the finest and best playwrights African has had.
Answer Bekono, Mammy Bissau. You think, sir, I didn't know who said I was say yeah, Eddie keeping the memory alive. First of all, as the School of Performing Arts, for which he was a big champion, and also for at the national level. And then I also say, he bet me that shit in the Minyam, Ama, the contribution of the bread, yes, the Niaso affirmation in
association. Maybe only makers is here, the American say, School of Performing Arts. Say, yeah, Abdallah was someone. Even the drama studio that we are using now, and now Abdallah Suni and Sakai. I mean, you know, maybe there, and come over and say, you be declare some space to do Abdallah plays. In fact, as a series of his plays, a festival of Abdallah at the School of Performing Arts for everybody to know, especially the younger ones, to be interested in what we can write as Africans and Ghanaians. And sana you know, atu. And the meme there, about me there see a benyano. The kai pass me Abdallah's play, the alien came 15 minutes. And then I'm your friend's surgery at that time. 15 minutes, alien came from the beginning to the end. We did not lose the message. The guy, of blessed memory, the then Quay and a year Kumbaru and Esther Nomini Adiadi, a Binuya Bagizua and Adiadi. Momanyan celebrity Abdallah. Nayanyan festival. Said you, Wawu, but he never dies. Abdallah lives on. Sanya Messia Canon.
Doctor, that was it. Papa. Now, before we go, Mami San can't send so back one son. Yako. So, first of all, we know we are and the infant. Second, how you feel? You better from time to time. Discuss some of your literary works because I just said,
yes, I'll be glad.
Me say, who dog, and I'll discover me. Now, me number yes,
you see.
Yeah, I said,
oh my God.
My place, I'm imagining any stage who baby are.
True.
They saw me, saw something.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And the
rest. Nyamina na omwa enam yenso na omwa limelight, especially in the arts. Shede kukasheli amotim bewia kwame omom kika wonyina kwesi baako na eyamedam so sabe de bachi jaw tamana be masters obey service or cultural center obey drama any on how the theater salad about cultural center and maybe na for that can was yamin shira okazi na yanko so say and I believe
that the way inspiration set Ghana movies ebeba nyina no dako ye beka ho asem esan se omo start ye no chumesi omo no ko denki apod miracle for competitive policy movie omo nyina so sem
para o kano
Dr. Dada
yes because na yankopo adawroma mo inspiration what can say me throw play bi. Oh, if you remember very well, a fatal decision.
Yes.
One and now we potash.
Yes, potash.
Appiah-Adjei by.
Yes.
I've developed the play now. It is entitled A Virgin Once Again. You're launching recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I will send you a copy this time. We have modernized it. We've made it so great.
Whoever had better do good. Otherwise, many know Asemka. Because I blew the part.
Yeah. When I buy and at that time I'm watching where I was done.
Yes.
And I didn't get the mao. Yes. And I then no one you didn't mao. Oh my God.
Yes.
And I have so many other plays. I've written Sansan Kroma, The Vessel of Our Destiny. Frema and the Boat.
All your intellectual plays are there, intact. But very, very intellectual.
Yeah. I just want to tell you. Kejetia.
That's sketch called Kejetia.
Oh, Kejetia.
Before YouTube skits, before social media, there was a sketch called Kejetia.
Kejetia. Yabeka wants some another time.
I'm sure it's nasty. That you're serious.
Yes. Because Mamina was na Abdallah Wadena Bano. Why are Jepa? Which is we African. Or cherish what the African playwright can do. And we have to open up and say. And the School of Performing Arts, we have to establish a course on Abdallah. Because you see, with the baby grow and the rest, we haven't finished learning. We need to dissect and interrogate a baby grow. So even if it was a course at the school, it will be fine. That's never trust. That's bye bye.
All right. God bless. All right.
Radio, culture.